Ezra Klein over in the Washington Post is asking the question, what could be, actually he's paraphrasing George Will and asking the question, what could be so damaging in Mitt Romney's tax returns that he doesn't want you and I to see them? And mostly he doesn't want Republican voters to see them because he's not going after my vote. And he knows he's not going after my vote. So what's so damaging that he doesn't want? Is it that he doesn't want the billionaire Republican voters and the millionaire Republican voters to know what's in his tax returns? Or is it that he doesn't want the Joe Six-Pack, Fox TV watching, oh my God, the Democrats are going to take away my gun and make me sit next to a gay person? That he doesn't want those Republicans to know. Right? Which is it? Which constituency is Mitt Romney afraid is going to find something out in his tax returns, and what is that he's afraid they're going to find out? And Ezra Klein, in today's Washington Post, putting out the hypothesis, he says, the question is what could be in them? He says, right now the most popular theory is that Romney simply didn't pay any taxes at all in 2009. As Joshua Green wrote, it's possible that he suffered a large enough capital loss that carried forward and coupled with his various offshore tax havens, he wound up paying no U.S. federal taxes in 2009. Isn't that nice? If you're in the capitalist class and you lose and you have a bad year, the next year you don't have to pay as much in taxes. This whole thing of our tax code, let's for just a moment take it out of the Mitt Romney bad, Barack Obama good, or whatever. I'm not trying. Well, with regard to taxes and income, I mean, Obama's been quite transparent, Mitt Romney hasn't. But the larger issue that this illuminates that we should be talking about as a nation, and I have not heard one commentator in the corporate media raise this question. And it could be because, entry-level jobs basically. If you're on, one of the major networks, entry-level jobs, if you're in front of the camera, start out at $1 million, $2 million a year. So these people take that money and they invest it. And after your second or third or fourth, 1 year's worth of income and you're set for the rest of your life. And so future years you're investing it all. And pretty soon they're members of the investor class. And they're living off dividend and interest income, which is taxed at a maximum 15%. So I don't expect that I'm going to see, fill in the blank, David Gregory or, I don't want to pick on David Gregory, but any of these guys. I don't expect I'm going to see any of them talking about this. Because they are the investor class. They're not as rich as Mitt Romney, but hey, they're doing fine. And they like the fact that their maximum income tax rate is 15% on a large chunk of their income. So I don't know if the practice has begun. Certainly CEOs of the companies that own the networks and senior executives are being compensated with stock options, so they pay a maximum 15% income tax when they finally vest those, when they turn them into cash. Could it be that the talent is doing the same thing? I don't know. But what I find amazing, genuinely amazing, is that in the United States of America right now, we have two kinds of income that you can earn. You can decide, now many people don't make a decision. They're simply born with a lot of money. George W. Bush was born with millions of dollars in a trust fund. So he never had to have a job in his life. Mitt Romney was born with millions of dollars in income, but he went out and created a company that squeezed millions of dollars out of other people's companies. But the point is that setting aside inherited wealth, setting aside the Paris Hiltons of the world, you can decide to go into business and do one of two things. You can go into the banking field and take most of your pay, or into the CEO and senior executive business and take most of your pay as stock options and pay a maximum top income tax rate of 15%, which is like right in the neighborhood of where a good teacher pays. But you're making millions or tens of millions or hundreds of millions, or in the case of over a dozen people on Wall Street, over $2 billion a year. And you're paying a maximum 15% income tax rate. You throw some tax deductions in there and you get down to Mitt Romney's 13.9%. We've got that. And then you've got the people who decide that they're going to do something with their lives that actually produces something. You know, the former category, that first category, I'd call them the takers, right? The people who they're living off, they're capitalists. They're living off capital income, right? They're living off investment income. They're taking, they're siphoning money off the top of the economy. And for some reason, we've decided as a society to reward them with a top maximum 15% income tax rate. And then there are the makers. There are the people who actually make things. With apologies to Daniel Quinn and his brilliant books. Ishmael and My Ishmael and Story of Bee. Then you got the makers, the people, the worker bees. Whether they're working at Walmart or whether they're working in a factory or whether they're working as brain surgeons or rocket scientists, they're taking their income as income. And their maximum tax rate is 35%. Why is that? Ronald Reagan, you've got a clip of this, Shane, where Ronald Reagan said, do you really want the bus driver and the millionaire to be paying the same tax rate? That's crazy. Or he said, you want the millionaire to pay less than the bus driver. That's crazy. And here it is.
We're going to close the unproductive tax loopholes that have allowed some of the truly wealthy to avoid paying their fair share. In theory, some of those loopholes were understandable, but in practice, they sometimes made it possible for millionaires to pay nothing, while a bus driver was paying 10% of his salary, and that's crazy. Do you think the millionaire ought to pay more in taxes than the bus driver, or less?
More, said all the Republicans. Is it enough to make you nostalgic for Reagan? Not quite. But it's getting there. 27 minutes past the hour. So why do we have this two-tier tax system, and why aren't we having a conversation about it?